up, everybody? It's Fakey, and today we're going to be starting a new series where I have been hired on as the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. What I'm meaning by that is I've created a custom coach, and I'm going to be controlling everything on the offensive side of the ball for 8 of the 16 games that we play in the regular season, and then, depending on how far we get, half of the playoff games as well. And I will be starting a defensive coordinator series shortly after the first season has concluded of the offensive coordinator series. I have done it. I have gone ahead and downloaded the most recent rosters with all the most recent free agency signings up to date of April 17th. And then I have gone ahead and simulated a full season, so we are leading up into the draft at this point. So there are going to be a few players that aren't going to be on contract, and the years are going to be off about by one for most players, but that shouldn't affect the rebuild and the experience too much. As we are heading into the free agency for this year still, we are going to be targeting a few pieces and trying to retain most of what would have been there last year. As I have gone through and simulated a whole year, there might be some development traits that are a little bit different than they used to be, but that's going to be okay. Some players have excelled in the offseason and some have not. First order of business is going to be going ahead and going over the offensive side of the ball, and we are atrocious. We do have Philip Lindsay, who needs to be re-signed. We have Deshaun Watson, obviously one of the better quarterbacks in the league itself. Looking at the wide receiver core, there's not much there. Got Brandon Crooks, who is just getting out of his prime. Randall Cobb, out of his prime. Kiki Cutie, never going to hit his prime. And then Chris Conley, a decently middle-aged wide receiver who's going to be a good contributor on this team at least. And then the one and only bright spot is going to be our tackles, Laramie Tunsil and Howard. And then everything else is absolutely not going to work on any point of the offense. We're going to have to go ahead and revamp the whole thing. And that's going to be starting now with the free agency and trades. One thing I wanted to go over before we got into re-signing and trading is I will obviously have control over what happens for re-signing on the defensive side and special teams, but we will just not be playing those games. We are also obviously going to go ahead and prioritize some of the defense if we have a player that is more valuable than an offensive player, but we will be focusing on building up the offense opposed to looking at the defense every week like we will be for the offense. Going into starting our rebuild and revamp of the Houston Texans offense, I've gone into the series already telling myself we will be trading Deshaun Watson before the draft happens and preferably week one of free agency because it is looking like they are going to have to trade him in real life once some allegations of court goes away or if he never plays in the NFL again. But going into that, we will be trading him here in this series. Unfortunately, from the first re-signing period, no one actually re-signed. We did offer Philip Lindsay a 4-year deal worth around $28 million, but he did decline that and he is in free agency. We were not going to franchise tag him. And there were not any other pieces that we needed to re-sign going into free agency. So we're going to have a busy free agency right after we try to complete a trade for Deshaun Watson. As we look for a trade for Deshaun Watson, we are going to be looking for a multitude of picks or very young, bright talent that can help this team going forward on offense or defense, but we are going to be looking for a lot because he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league at only the age of 25 to 26. After going ahead and looking at all the rosters and the potential trades for a quarterback, I believe we have found the correct team which they are linked to in real life. The Dolphins would be trying to acquire Deshaun Watson and a 4th-round pick for 2 firsts this year and a second this year, where they also are retaining a second as well. So, we will be going ahead and trying out this trade, which is not too unreasonable, I don't think, because if you look into the Russell Wilson saga, there were 3 firsts, 2 starters on the board, and they did decline that offer. So 2 firsts and a second should not be too much of a haul to get a franchise quarterback. And looking at it, we are just under what they would be wanting for this. So we are going to go ahead and offer our 3rd round pick and Deshaun Watson. That is going to be a bit too little as well. So I'm going to go ahead and find a player that they're going to be looking for, and we are going to go ahead and get this trade done. We have officially found a trade for Deshaun Watson. We are not trading him to the Dolphins. We have found another trade suitor where we will be trading Deshaun Watson and a 3rd round pick this year for the number 3 overall draft pick, a 1st round pick next year, and the number 3 draft pick in the 2nd round for Deshaun Watson. This does help us short and long term. We are going to be able to get a number 3 draft pick who's going to bolster our franchise up immediately, and we are getting ourselves another 2nd round pick that we didn't have in this draft. So we are going to be missing a 3rd round draft pick this year, but we are finally going to have a number 1, a round 1, and a round 2 draft pick going into this year's draft, while having 2 first-rounders going into next year. After completing the trade, we have diminished our resources on the offensive side of the ball. We don't have a starting caliber center. We don't have a starting caliber right guard. Our starter going into the season at QB would be Ryan Finley. And we don't have a running back. We have Howell, who's a 60 overall, and we have a lot to accomplish going into the free agency in this year's draft. Looking at the cap space and how Madden is figuring what our cap room would be, even though we do have $120 million free, our cap room is negative 10 mil, which that will be reset week 3 of free agency, so we will be missing out on 2 weeks of starter caliber players. Unfortunately, the Madden gods have made it so we are not allowed to have any cap space for some odd reason. Going into the first 4 weeks of free agency, we have over $80 million available according to our salaries, but according to the cap room in free agency, we have negative $10 million. So we are going to have to go into the draft as if we don't have any free agents and hope we can luck out on some veteran grabs after the draft. Also, looking into the league a little bit more and a little bit of insight for you guys. Going into the settings, I am allowed to be fired based off the goal we set at the beginning of each year. Obviously, the goal will get increasingly more difficult, but we are an offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans now, but we are allowed to accept other job offers going into this series. Before we go ahead and get into the draft, we are going to look over a few of the league signings, and it looks like the Colts have acquired Ingram, Sherman went to the football team, Richie Incognito signs with the Bengals, they do need offensive line depth, Casey Hayward signs with the Colts, they have bolstered their defense even more. Gronk signed with the Titans, Philip Lindsay, who I really actually wanted to re-sign, has signed with the Detroit Lions. Malik Hooker goes to the Ravens. Steven Nelson goes to the Steelers. Any other big names? T.Y. Hilton goes to the Patriots. And Leonard Fournette goes to the Chargers. Nothing else huge. Anthony Brown signs with the Seahawks. And that is about it for the bigger signings. And if we look at what is available still going into week 1, potentially Kareem Jackson, Young Wei Koo, Antonio Brown, Gus Edwards, Xavier Rhodes, Le'Veon Bell. There are still talented guys out there as we start the 2021 NFL Draft. Looking at the draft, of course, you have the guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Devonta Smith, Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts. They are all talented. And with our first pick in the draft, we are going to be targeting whoever we think is best available, probably quarterback, looking at what our roster is looking like right now. And as we go ahead and get into the draft, the Arizona Cardinals, with the number 1 pick in the draft, select
The Chargers are now
Trevor
on the clock.
Lawrence, even though they have Kyler Murray, they thought Trevor Lawrence is a franchise guy, is a guy we would want to start over Kyler Murray. The Chargers, who just signed Leonard Fournette, with the number 2 pick, the Chargers are going to be selecting
The Texans
Panay
are now
Sewell.
on the clock.
And as we look into what is available from here, we have a big decision to make. The only quarterback I would take right now is Justin Fields. But there are studs out there. Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, and those are all guys I would take with this number 3 pick. But before we go ahead and get into that, I will be looking at trades because right now our franchise is up in the air and we are looking to improve any way we can. And the only way I trade this pick is if we get 2 more firsts for this 1 pick. Yes, it's a high asking point, but we traded Deshaun Watson for this pick, and if we can trade this first for 2 more firsts, we will be making that deal as soon as we can. And looking into it, the first team to offer us 2 firsts are going to be the Oakland Raiders, which it's not a bad pick because next year they should be a little bit worse than they were this year, according to Madden, because they will age. The Jets give us a great trade offer, but I am not liking the pick we would be getting this year. The Jags, 1 pick. The Miami Dolphins, 1 pick. But we would be trading back only 1 pick and acquiring a 3rd round draft pick, which is actually intriguing me a lot here. Because right now, we don't need Micah Parsons. We don't need Jalen Waddle. And they don't need Justin Fields. So if we can trade back, secure Justin Fields, we might just have a good trade offer right there. And I think we have agreed on an offer finally with the Miami Dolphins to acquire the 4th pick and a 3rd going into this draft.
Well, if you're wondering what the delay is, I think we've got a trade coming here.
We are praying they do not select Justin Fields here.
The Texans
And
are
they
now on
go
the clock.
ahead, take Justin Fields out of the Ohio State University. But we did get a 3rd round pick out of this, and now we are going to have to adjust with the times. Right now, we are in big need of talent, straight up talent. And looking at it, I would say we should take a quarterback right away here. But there are plenty of veteran guys, backup dudes, even younger backup dudes who will be drafted or are already on teams that we can pick up and maybe mold into something better. I don't know if I'm confident enough in Trey Lance. I don't think I'm confident enough in Zach Wilson, Kyle Trask, especially Mac Jones. So, with this number 1 pick, well, number 4 pick in the draft, we are going to go ahead and get whoever's going to play quarterback a weapon, and hopefully a guy who'll be on this team for much longer and his whole career, Kyle Pitts. He's 21 years old, freak of nature, fast as hell, glue for hands, and we're going to be taking him with the number 4 pick in the draft, Kyle Pitts. He has a
The
hidden
Patriots
development,
are now on the clock.
76 overall, vertical threat, wearing the number 89 for the Houston Texans. And here we are with the 3rd pick in the 2nd round, and there is some talent available still. There are players like Mac Jones who is available, and I might have to take because we don't have a quarterback. There are some great running backs available: Najee Harris, Chuba Hubbard, even Zamir White's here. He's a little bit later, so we're going to go ahead and skip on running backs for now because Mac Jones is on top of the list. We are not really looking for a wide receiver right now. We just took a tight end. We'd be looking for a center, a right guard, and then some defense potentially. But as we're looking through these players, I am not seeing a player who's going to be more valuable to this team other than Mac Jones. So we will be going ahead and taking Mac Jones out of Alabama. He's going to be a 69
The
overall
Dolphins are
with
now on the
normal
clock.
development. It's a lot better than what we have right now. Mac Jones is going to have to make the best out of a shitty situation. And as we're going into round 3, pick 11, we are not going to be
The
looking
Texans are
at
now on the clock.
defense again. We have a huge glaring hole at running back. Unless there's not a running back I see that is fit, we will be taking one. And actually, looking at it, there is not much available here that I would be comfortable taking at this point in the draft. And there is a certain DB that I did see, Caden Stearns, who might just be our first pick in the third round. Looking at the rest of the talent here, I did not do any scouting because this is the real life rosters and the real life people who are going to be here. So we are going to bolster up the defense actually, and we're going to be taking Caden Stearns. He's a 68
The
overall in
Bills are now on
development,
the clock.
and I believe he's going to be able to play a pretty good sub linebacker. You even switch him down into a linebacker going into the season.
The Texans are now
With
on
the
the clock.
fourth round starting, and we have not selected a halfback yet. We will be selecting one today. This pick right here, we might go back to back running backs due to our needs at running back. And the one I personally like right now is Master Teague out of the Ohio State University. Elusive back, projected mid fourth round, without a halfback on the roster. We're going to be selecting Master Teague.
The
He's a
Chargers
67
are now on the
overall,
clock.
87 speed, 94 excel. He's a very average running back, but he is the best one we got at this point in the draft.
The
And then
Texans
not
are now
much
on the clock.
further behind, with the fourth pick in the fourth round, we will be taking another running back who will be fighting for the number one spot on the team. And I have not given this one much thought. And we're going to go ahead and look into this. We got Javon Hawkins, who's going to be 5'9", 196, faster. We got Jarrett Patterson, who's going to be faster than Master Teague. We also have CJ Verdell down here, but I am not sure why we are going to be taking him. But we're going to go ahead and take Jarrett Patterson out of Buffalo. And he's going to be a 69 overall
The Patriots are now on the clock.
halfback wearing the number 27 out of Buffalo. 88 speed, good all around offense, not very good in the pass game, but he can catch out of the backfield. So right now he will be our leading back going into preseason. As we have completed the draft and we're looking over the recap, I do want to let you guys know it does say we have $68 million in cap space, but we were not able to use that during free agency. In going through the picks, you guys already know it was Kyle Pitts, Mac Jones, Caden Stearns, back-to-back running backs in the fourth round, Master Teague and Jarrett Patterson. And then for what you guys didn't see, we went ahead and selected Armani Gaynor, who was just a dude to basically fill the void of Whitney Mercilus once he retires or we let him go. And he was a star development, so hopefully even just with the star development, we can get this guy into a starting role on the defense. And then with our sixth pick, we did go ahead and take a position of need in center, 63 overall, Linderbaum. And then we took another running back, a power back this time, Trey Sermon out of Ohio State in the sixth round. And then We took another center to bolster up some needs, but he was a 66 seventh rounder, our starting center, Jimmy Morsey. And now, as we go ahead into the first week of the preseason, we are going to be looking at free agency and how we're going to be able to improve this team. Looking at our team in general here, there is a lot to be desired, of course. We are not looking to make playoffs this year. We are looking to develop our young guys and hopefully win 5 to 8 games here. But Mac Jones is now our starting quarterback with Ryan Finley backing him up. We have our starting center, Jimmy Morsey, our backup, who's going to be playing probably a lot depending on injuries. Our wide receiver core did not get touched, but they are a little bit older for say. Hopefully Brandon Cooks can maybe even get up to a 90 overall with this team. Kyle Pitts is the bright spot on our offensive side of the ball. He is everything to this team right now. Him and Laramie Tunsil. On the defensive side of the ball, like I said, we got a Marnie Gaynor, who is a hidden development, which hopefully he's going to get some minutes depending or plays depending on what our defensive coordinator is looking at, and Caden Stearns, who is also a hidden development. Hopefully, he's going to go ahead and get some plays as well. So it is the first week of preseason. We're going to go ahead and look into the free agents we might acquire for the team. Looking at our team from top to bottom, after the Deshaun Watson trade and after all the things that went wrong with Hopkins, JJ Watt, all of it, we have a brighter future than we did yesterday, and that's all we can hope for. And now going into free agency, we are not going to look for to add really talented older veterans. We're going to look for dudes who are going to be able to build here in Houston and maybe have a shot to maybe be a starter or start right when we sign them. And looking at the quarterbacks, we're fine with what we have. We're going to keep Ryan Finley and Mac Jones, not sign anyone there. Halfback, there are guys like Le'Veon Bell, Tevin Coleman, Giovanni Bernard, Mark Ingram, but these are not guys we are looking to sign. There are guys like Boston Scott who I'd love to have. There are guys like Brian Hill would love to have, and Jeff Wilson Jr. I would also love to have those guys. So we are actually going to go ahead and look through these guys, and we're going to go ahead and sign one of these free agents to be the starting lead horse on our team. After looking at all of the free agents at every position, I have decided that we're going to go ahead and sign 2 players to start, and I'm going to look into one position at week 1 of the regular season. And the 2 players we signed are going to be Kalen Balaj. I believe he's really talented still in real life. I believe he does still have a future if he can get into the right situation. And right now, we are the right situation. We can give him the lead horse runs and the amount of plays he's going to need to show that he is as talented as I hope he's going to be. He is going to be the lead workhorse in front of the other 3 running backs. And to help him out a little bit, we have signed J.R. Sweezy to bolster up the offensive line. Now, we are still average, but we have some veteran talent that is hopefully going to be able to help all the young guys on this team. With now needing 2 cuts to the main roster and potentially 3 week 1, we are going to go ahead and simulate to the week 1 of the regular season, and hopefully there will be no injuries on the horizon for us. We're going to go ahead and sim to the regular season, where we are going to start our offensive head coaching, nope, offensive coordinator regime. This is going to go ahead and conclude the episode for today. We have gone over the free agency, the draft, free agency again, and now we are ready to go into the season as our first season as the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. With Mac Jones at the helm, Kyle Pitts, Brandon Cooks, Tunsil, all to help him out there, we are aiming for 7 wins like we did in our goal. But this is going to be a series that is going to be cross-played between my Twitch streams and YouTube. So if you see a difference in weeks on the videos, I will tell you guys what have happened and do a little overview of what happened on the Twitch streams, but they will be intertwined together. The one and only thing that will always be a video and not a stream will be the off season and playoffs. Those will either be both or just a series on YouTube. And now, after we got all that information out, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. It is a little bit of a longer one, but is the start to a series which will be going on for hopefully years to come, and getting a remix for the defensive side of the ball. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, comment, share to your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.